What's up, YouTube? It's your boy JP's on the keys, and it's too easy. We're back for another video today. Thank you to everyone who has been watching the my series on the Napoleonic Wars. We have finally reached the end, man, and I think in every episode, y'all ran up the support. I appreciate everybody. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate all the new people that came from Napoleon. Please drop some new history playlists, anything history related, because I like this is really intrigued. Stuff like this really intrigues me. But like I said, also if you see the sub count, we're 160 subs away from 5,000 subscribers. Thank you so much to everybody who's been supporting the channel, who's been subscribing. Thank you to everybody. Welcome to all the people who are new. Definitely welcome. You know what I'm saying? This is a variety content channel, wherever you want. You know what I'm saying? We reacting, we doing whatever. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let us get to Napoleonic Wars, Battle of Waterloo, 1815. This is Napoleon's last straw. Like, they already took him. They ran him back into France. They took France. They took Paris. And now Napoleon is just mustering up whoever he can for one last fight to try to see if he can make peace. You know what I'm saying? But let's just get to it. Anyway, I also heard that I was reading through the comments, and some people were saying that Epic History was trying to do like a reboot of this specific episode. But for right now, I'm going to do this one, and if they do a reboot, I'll just do that. I'll just react to that one as well. You know what I mean? So, you know what I'm saying? I read all the comments. I do read all the comments.
April 1814. For 10 years, one man has dominated Europe. Napoleon Bonaparte, Emperor of the French. Under his military genius, France conquered an empire that spanned the continent. But finally, he has been defeated by a grand coalition of his enemies. Napoleon is forced to abdicate and exiled to the tiny island of Elba, while the Bourbon monarchy is restored to France in the corpulent form of Louis XVIII. But rumors soon reach Napoleon that France would welcome his return. The French people have little love for the monarchy or its hangers-on, the very people whose excesses led to the French Revolution 25 years before. He also learns that at the Congress of Vienna, his enemies are locked in bitter dispute over the future of Europe.
See, my thing is, so now you're mad. So the people of France, I don't understand that. So now you were mad that he was at war. You're mad that Napoleon is at war with the entire continent, with all of Europe, but trying to protect the home country. Oh, we don't need war. He's trying to make peace with everybody. And then he gets gained. Then it's 6 countries ganging up on him. And now that he's out, then the new system, oh my God, no, we don't like the monarchy. Well, what do you want? You know what I'm saying? Do you want peace? Do you want a monarchy? Do you want a dictatorship? Because it's either one of the two. You know what I'm saying? Take your pick. Take your pick.
Napoleon decides to act. After just 10 months in exile, he returns to France, where the troops sent to arrest him rally to his cause instead. Most of France soon follows suit.
I don't know why they thought that he wouldn't. Bro, this man, they gotta understand who he was, bro. This dude led a country against a continent. Like the impact. He led a country against a continent. Like that, the impact is crazy. Like, of course, there's still going to be some faithful, just like how when the Revolutionary War came along, there were still people that were fine with being there were still colonists that were fine with being under the rule of King George. They didn't care. They were loyalists. They didn't care. But you know what I'm saying? It's always going to be some people.
But in Vienna, the coalition immediately put their differences to one side. They declare Napoleon an outlaw and mobilize their forces for war. Napoleon knows he must act boldly before the coalition launches a coordinated invasion of France.
Well, they weren't playing.
He counts on winning a quick victory and then negotiating peace from a position of strength.
They ain't playing.
He targets the coalition armies within easiest reach: Prince Blücher's Prussian army and the Duke of Wellington's Anglo-Allied army, both camped in Belgium. Napoleon's force is a match for either coalition army on its own, but he'll be heavily outnumbered if they're able to join forces, so he must keep them apart and defeat each in turn.
Oh, okay, the camera shake effects. Okay, look at this editing. This is hard. Yo, shout out to Epic History, man. They go crazy. Oh, the team behind these videos, man, y'all go crazy. Y'all go crazy with these videos, man. Definitely, this is some content that you got to support. Like, this is the type of content that, you know what I'm saying, that we need to support. Definitely 100%. The editing is beautiful. Oh my God, I'm getting jealous.
Napoleon's army crosses the frontier near Charleroi, intending to drive a wedge between the two coalition armies. The next day, Napoleon sends his left wing under Marshal Ney to take the crossroads at Quatre Bras. There, Ney clashes with Wellington's army, still scrambling into position. The Allied troops fight off a series of French attacks and just manage to hold their ground.
That's crazy how he came from being in exile from 10 months to a whole army. You gotta realize that's crazy. He came from being exiled on those tiny island, and as soon as he comes back onto France, he has an army. Like, bro, that's crazy. Like, he got an army, he got all his generals back, he got everything. Everything is back to the way it used to be, and all in a period of 10 months. Like, just think about the shift, the paradigm shift from 10 months of monarchy to Napoleon again.
The same day, Napoleon attacks Blücher's Prussian army with his main force near the village of Ligny. The battle is a brutal slugging match, but the French emerge triumphant. The 72-year-old Blücher leads a cavalry charge in person and has his horse killed under him. He only just escapes capture. The Prussian army retreats, but it is not broken. Napoleon sends his right wing under Marshal Grouchy to keep them on the run, and turns his own attention to Wellington's army. The British general doesn't receive news of Blücher's defeat until the next morning, at which point he orders a retreat through heavy summer showers to a position 8 miles south of Brussels, near the village of Waterloo. There he receives a promise from Blücher that the Prussians will march to his aid the next morning. So Wellington decides to stand and fight. Wellington has chosen his battlefield with care. His troops are behind a gentle ridge which will give them some shelter from French cannon fire. His right flank is anchored on the farmhouse of Hougoumont, his center on the farm of La Haye-Sainte, and his left on the farm of Papelotte. All three are fortified and garrisoned with elite troops. Wellington's men need every advantage they can get. The opposing armies are roughly equal in size, but his is a ragtag mix of British, Dutch, and German troops, many of whom have never seen combat before. They will have to hold off Napoleon's army of veterans until Prussian reinforcements arrive, or the battle and probably the war will be lost.
This Getting good. Getting good, ladies and gentlemen. Getting good.
Sunday dawns bright and fair. Napoleon has ordered Marshal Grouchy to pursue the Prussians and keep them busy, while he defeats Wellington's army at Waterloo and opens the road to Brussels. But it's Grouchy who gets pinned down, fighting the Prussian rearguard at Wavre. The main Prussian force eludes him and is already marching to Wellington's aid. At Waterloo, Napoleon delays his attack, waiting for the ground to dry, which will make movement easier for his troops. But the lost hours will later prove costly. The battle begins around 11 a.m., when Napoleon orders a feint against Wellington's right flank at Hougoumont. He hopes Wellington will commit his reserves here, drawing them away from the center, where the main blow will fall.
I like the anticipatory movement. You like, oh, we gonna do it just in case. We hoping for this to happen so we can. That makes sense though. So like the middle, sort of the middle will be weaker, so you can just push all your troops in there, and then you can probably bring in some troops from the left flank over to kind of like encircle them a little bit.
But Hougomont's British and German defenders cling on desperately throughout the day. At one point, the French force their way through the main gate, but it's shut behind them, and the intruders are all killed.
Ooh.
Wellington later calls it the decisive moment of the battle. Around noon, 80 French cannon open fire against the main Allied line. Most of Wellington's men are out of sight on the reverse slope, but many cannonballs still find their mark, smashing bloody holes in the Allied ranks. At 1:30 p.m., Napoleon sends in his infantry. The French columns are met by disciplined musket fire, and then charged by British heavy cavalry. The French attack disintegrates as Napoleon's men try to save themselves from the crushing hooves and flashing sabers.
Like, what can you do though? Like, what can you do if you're on the ground and you got like 90 pounds of armor, you got 90 pounds of stuff on your back, you got a whole backpack that's probably, you know what I'm saying, so that weighs a lot, so you can't move as fast, and now you got a dude on a horse. The horse is probably going 30 to 40 miles an hour. He's on a horse with a sword, come by and slash you. Like, what can you do at that point? Like, you can't, like, if you're on the ground, you can't do anything. You just have to hope that you can shoot his horse out from under him. Maybe. That's your best hope. But that, like, imagine seeing that though, just a brigade of horses. Because usually we don't think of horses like in a mean way because we tamed them. But now you see a horse running towards you at full speed with a dude on top of it with a sword, ready to slice your head off.
Scores of Frenchmen are ridden down, and 2 of their famous Eagle standards are captured. But the British cavalry, exhilarated by success, charge too far. They become scattered, their horses blown. At their most vulnerable, they're countercharged by French cavalry and suffer terrible losses. Among the dead, Major General Sir William Ponsonby, commander of the Union Brigade. Around 4 p.m., Marshal Ney thinks he sees the Allies begin to retreat and leads a mass cavalry charge to drive home the advantage. But Ney is wrong. The Allied infantry are ready, formed in hollow squares with bayonets fixed. The French cavalry can't break into these impregnable formations. They can only circle impotently until they retreat or are shot from the saddle.
Oh, first of all, a couple things. I know I'm pausing a lot. I'm sorry. Like, why would he think that they would retreat though? That's the thing. Why would they think? Like, did he really think they had an advantage? And just think about, like, they formed a square where they had the bayonets, so you couldn't get close to them, and they can just jab you with the bayonets, and then they had people in there shooting from the, like, that's crazy. That's tough. Like, and not in like, oh my god, it's so cool. People are getting, but like, just like military wise, that's crazy. Like, that's so ingenuitive. Like, the ingenuity is.
Ney's failure to support this attack with either infantry or artillery is a serious blunder. Meanwhile, Blücher's Prussians have begun to arrive. They capture the village of Plancenoit, threatening Napoleon's flank and forcing him to send reserves to recapture it. Around 6 p.m., French infantry finally capture the farmhouse of La Haye-Sainte in the center of the battlefield. It allows the French to bring forward artillery and blast the Allied squares from close range. They can't miss the closely packed formations, and casualties quickly mount.
They're sitting ducks, bro.
It begins to seem that if Wellington's army doesn't retreat, it will be killed where it stands. But the situation for Napoleon is also desperate. The Prussians are arriving in force, and he's running out of men to throw against Wellington's army. So he turns to his ultimate reserve, the elite Imperial Guard, the most feared troops in Europe. At 7:30 p.m., 3,000 of these battle-hardened veterans march past their emperor and across the corpse-strewn battlefield towards the Allied center.
Yo, my man Napoleon brought the big guns out. He brought the Imperial Guard. The big guns. He was hiding them in the vault.
Wellington's redcoats rise to meet them and pour devastating volleys of musket fire into their ranks. When the Allies fix bayonets and prepare to charge, the Imperial Guard wavers and then retreats.
Oh, never mind.
Wellington, sensing victory, orders a general advance. About the same time, the Prussians recapture Plancenoit. News of the Imperial Guard's defeat and rumors of encirclement by the Prussians sweep through the French ranks. Panic breaks out, and the French army flees the battlefield. Only Napoleon's old guard maintain their discipline, mounting a heroic but doomed rearguard action. Napoleon himself is forced to abandon his carriage and barely escapes the pursuing Prussian cavalry. The battle is won. The Duke of Wellington and Prince Blücher meet and congratulate each other outside Napoleon's former headquarters, an inn called La Belle Alliance. Blücher thinks it's the perfect name for their shared victory, but Wellington prefers the more English-sounding Waterloo, where he has his own headquarters. The Battle of Waterloo was, in the words of the Duke of Wellington, a damned near-run thing. It was also one of the bloodiest battles of the age. Around 50,000 men were killed or wounded, 23,000 coalition casualties, 27,000 French. Due to an appalling shortage of medical care, many of the wounded were left lying on the battlefield for several days. Napoleon was utterly defeated. Unable to raise another army, he surrendered to the British. They transported him to a second exile on the tiny, remote Atlantic island of St. Helena. This time there was no escape. He died there 6 years later.
Dang, bro.
Waterloo marked the beginning of a period of relative peace in Europe. There were no wars between the great powers for 40 years, and the British would not fight on the continent for another 100 years. until the summer of 1914. 40 years after the battle, a pioneer in the new art of photography captured these remarkable images. They're veterans of Napoleon's armies, by then all old men in their 70s and 80s. Among them, Sergeant Tanya of the Imperial Guard, Moray of the 2nd Regiment of Hussars, and Verline of the 2nd Guard Lancers.
Yo, just the fact that look how clear these pictures are. And these are from like the 1850s. Look how clear these pictures are. This was 170 years ago. Look how clear these pictures. Wow. Look how clear these. Just the thing, like living in the 1800s though. Like, wow. I mean, that would have been kind of trash for like someone like me, but still, just living in the 1800s, like, what? Like, I was like, no technology, no anything, no nothing, no technology, no, you had to travel horse and carriage, or you walked, like, you had to go out and hunt your food, like.
These faces are a tantalizing link to the dramatic events that shaped the course of history 2 centuries ago.
All right, that is the end of the Napoleonic War series. Again, shout out to Epic History TV for the content. And definitely leave some more content in the comment section, because these are the type of videos I love to do. I love to do these videos. But anyways, thank you again for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. Don't forget to share the video if you have wherever you share videos at. Also, don't forget to turn on my post notifications. Check out my Patreon. Check out my gaming channel as well. I'm gonna upload on my gaming channel within the next couple of days. So stay on the lookout for that. But anyways, thank you. Be safe. Have a great day. Stay on the grind. I'm out. Peace.